Hi, this is Professor Bolt again. This is the course-related materials for the introduction for the first week. We'll talk a little bit about the syllabus, Canvas, and how we'll be using things, and then I'll talk about the assignments you have for this week. And this structure of two videos, one closer to the content of the book and then one about assignments and class-related stuff, will be the structure I'll be using throughout most of the semesters to sort of keep the content and the course-related stuff separate. So you're all sophomores, it's 2000 level class. I assume you've all used Canvas. If not, contact me. I can help you in answer some questions, but there's plenty of resources to learn about Canvas. So a couple of things about this class. It's not yet published. I'll have it published before the class begins, but I'm still working on other parts, so I don't want to put it out there too early. Um, so I'm going to start with going over the syllabus. So this is the course. If you want to contact me, all communication should be via UCCS email or via Canvas's communication, which is over here. This thing here, the inbox. You can send or receive mail to me through this, or you can just use campus email. The reason I like to have everything for email is so that I have a record of it in case I forget. I'm basically have lots of things going on, so I won't delete class email, so I'll be able to find that. So if you have an emergency, for some reason you feel you can phone me, here's my cell phone number. Call, don't text. I'm really bad at dealing with text. When I'm in meetings, I will not, the phone doesn't ring, I don't see any messages, and because of the way I deal with my phone, I don't necessarily notice it. But phone calls, if you leave me voicemail, it actually sends me an email, so that's how I know that I have voicemail. My email address is tbolt@uccs. I actually have a second address, tbolt@vast.ucc.edu. That's actually where I read all my mail, but campus mail gets forwarded there. My office hours, I'm going to have office hours, which you can contact me on Teams or in person. The Tuesday 9:30 to 10:30 will actually be in my office on the engineering school, 174. I'll actually update this. I forgot to fix that on this version. And then Tuesday afternoons, 4:30 to 5:30, I will be down at the cybersecurity building where the parking is free. So if you don't have a parking permit and you want to meet in person, you can meet me down there for that section, and I'll update those two. This course is in 100% online. Generally, things will be asynchronous, but there's going to be teamwork where you have to coordinate with other members of the class, and video calls will be required. Some of your team calls will be with me. There's no fixed time for when those will be. We'll have to work out a time, but you will have to find some time to make some of those work. And so, it might be 7:30 a.m., right? Where probably you're not working, but we'll figure something out. So this is different from some past online courses where people didn't really work in teams. You will be working in teams, and so you'll have to find some time to coordinate with your team members. You'll be on multiple different teams, so it's not even fine like one or two people you can work with. You'll have to deal with at least two different subsets of groups. Since this is asynchronous, the course really has no class day. I'll be running it with mostly a Monday-oriented schedule, meaning I'm going to try and post the new videos and lectures on Monday. So if everything goes well, they'll get posted Sunday night or Monday morning. Assignments will be due later in the week, generally Thursday or Friday. Some will actually wait until the next Monday to be due. Depends on how I'm doing things, if I need to grade them to give you feedback. So the required textbook, there was nothing to buy for this class. They're going to have notes, chapters of the book, Twist, Tactical Writing with Impactful Storytelling Techniques, which is in development. In fact, your first assignments will help me guide some of where I'm going. It's actually already posted in Canvas. The post will be updated regularly as I continue to expand the book. There's some supplemental reading, which I will point to various times throughout the semester, that are on reserve in the library. I will refer to them, and they may be useful for some assignments. They're not going to be required, but when I talk about things, if you want to get a little bit more information, I'll put them on reserve so that everybody will be able to get to them. An important thing for you to deal with in this class is we're going to be using the Respondus lockdown browser and monitor for the midterm exam. That requires that you use the Respondus lockdown browser and monitor, and that means you're going to have some software installed, and you must have a webcam for exam use. You can use computers in the campus library. Most of them are set up to be able to do this. I will have a separate video probably for next week on how to set up Respondus lockdown browser. I actually have to get a Windows machine and a Mac so I can show you how to set up both of those. I'm running Linux, so it doesn't apply. If you're running just Linux, then you'll have to find some other way to do it because there's not a full Linux support for that. You will need to be able to use MS Office. You all, through your UCCS account, have access to Office 365, so you all have access to that. So it doesn't cost you anything, but you have to be able to use it. I will accept some other tools if you can make a very strong case for why that, and if everyone on the team agrees. In particular, if you want to use Google Docs because you find that better than MS Office, you're going to need that. But many assignments in this class, most of the assignments in this class that are doing writing are going to require you to turn in a document with change tracking enabled and visible, as well as a clean copy. I want to see who was doing what editing when. That's part of how I want to deal with team grading. I can look at a team and sort of get a feel for what's going on. Tracking changes will allow me to see all the edits from the creation of the document, helps me understand who to give process to, but also helps me give you feedback on your writing process, because I can look for things that were not well managed in terms of a process. In particular, if you have a team writing, each team member is going to have to edit the document with their names and initials and change tracking to support the assessment of who did what. If you get together and you have 3 people, 1 person sitting around a keyboard, that's actually not going to work very well, because I won't be able to see that the other 2 people were doing it. It's okay if you do some of that. If you, for example, use a chat transcript, so like you use Microsoft Teams, for example, to track the audio among the 3 of you, so you're in the same room, but you each have your own laptop and you're all talking, then that will produce a transcript that I'll be able to use. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to our first team writing assignment. But again, you have to be able to do change tracking, and I'll go through the tools of doing some of this in later lectures. Okay. The syllabus for this is not a contract, but it's a rather living document, live document. I'll be changing it throughout the semester. I'm not going to make major changes on some major items like when the midterm will be or when the final project is due without significant warning, and I don't expect to change them at all. But the syllabus and the other assignments will change as the semester continues. We say how this new process works out. This is a very different way than the way the class has been taught in the past. I want to be able to take advantage of new ideas, availability of guest speakers, other opportunities that are going to make the class better. So this is a BI innovation course, so things will change. I expect them to change. So don't think, oh, week 3 is going to be this. Week 3 is probably not going to change much, but week 4 might. Even week 3 might if I get a guest speaker that's going to be in town or do something interesting. So the learning objectives. So this course is about technical and business writing, proposals, and presentation, as I will call it, tactical writing. The topics may include a whole bunch of stuff, and so we'll be definitely talking on interdisciplinary teamwork and team writing, collaborative writing with a group, but also you'll be doing some independent writing, because we have to make sure you have both sets of skills. We'll talk a little bit about, towards the end of the semester, writing correspondences targeted at various demographics, including inclusive skills, languages, and how you write to a broad group of demographics and not necessarily insult people. We'll definitely be doing audience and needs analysis, looking at the needs of the funder, the processes we're going to be We're going to look at how do you find proposals, including the funders, recipients, and how all of that processes work. We'll be looking at the proposal writing process from the very beginning, planning, pre-proposal work, through the framework development, and final execution. My expectation is that this class will be turning in a real grant with partners for real money as at least one of the 2 grants you're going to work on. Not everyone will necessarily have to do that, because if you write junk and it's going to be an embarrassment to UCCS, your grade won't be good, and we won't turn it in because we're not going to embarrass ourselves if you don't produce a good enough product. But I expect in the class, when I've taught this class, the sections I've taught of this class, we've helped our partners win $6 million in funding over multiple semesters when I was teaching this in the beginning of the BI. So I'm pretty sure we can do this. We'll get you through that process. Don't freak out. It's actually not that hard. We're going to be talking about organizing and writing very clear, precise proposals, tactically oriented towards our customer, that are going to be telling a story. And maybe a quarter of this class is actually going to be about storytelling with respect to tactical writing. We're going to talk about the basic descriptions, categories, structures, reason for creating, a whole bunch of things related to proposals and to other types of technical and tactical writing. We'll talk about grammatical concepts for proposal writing and professional reports. As you will find out, I'm dyslexic. Grammar is not my strong suit, but I can hear it. I just can't output it very well. But we'll talk about how to fix that. We're going to practice proper delivery of visual information and understand how to process filling information, talk a bit about graphics and how to include those in proposals. And when we do our real proposal, there'll be graphics to go with it. We're going to talk about control of the audience attention through layouts, pauses, pitch, dynamic timing, especially with respect to speeches. So you'll all actually do a video where you've done a speech, and we'll put that together. The preparation, deliver information from one's personal point of view, objective and subjective and objective self-awareness, and then how to get outside of yourself. The most important skill for most tactical writing is not to talk about your personal view, your subjective view, but to separate yourself and actually be able to present it from a way the audience will understand. We'll go talk about that. We'll talk about the understanding of the role of the funder, the recipient, the proposal writing, talk about some client interviewing skills and assessments to figure out where some of that stuff comes from, and then put all that together with effective storytelling and effective presentations. So that's the core of what we're trying to cover in this class. This class is about communication. Tactical writing, as you'll see in the other part of the lecture, is much more about understanding what to write and how to write it than the actual grammar stuff. So for those of you that have struggled with grammar, spelling, and those kinds of things, we're going to have to get it right, because when you submit a proposal, you submit a document, if it's got misspellings, there's a good chance somebody on the other side will ding you a lot for that, and that'll be it. If you can't spell, we're not going to give you any money. We're not going to give you the job promotion rate. You have misspellings in your resume, people will not hire you, because there are people for whom that's really important. Personally, I don't see lots of that stuff, but other people do. So you got to write so that you can get all of that. Some expectations. I want you to tell the truth. Be on time. When we have these weird team meetings, right? Communication is part of what we'll be looking for, as you will see in the BI classes, right? If something has come up, you got to communicate with your team. You just don't blow off meetings. Be on time. Make sure what's going to have. Give and honor your word. If you say, I'm going to have this done by Monday, have it done by Monday. You're supposed to actively take notes from the lectures and the reading. I'm actually not, I considered, but I'm not going to have any effort where I check that you're taking the notes, so that's up to you. But when we go to have the exam, right, having taken notes is important for many students to retain the material. The act of taking notes is often more important than having notes. So getting notes from somebody else doesn't make you remember the same as deciding, I just watched this is the important stuff, I wrote it down. That act of writing it down is the most important part of notes, not having them, but taking them. I want you to treat one another the way you'd like to be treated. For those of you who have a little dark side, don't treat everybody else dark, right? Treat them like you would want to treat your grandmother, because that's probably a better model. Respect the diversity of individuals, opinions, background, life experience, personal choices. We're going to be a diverse group. We're students from a bunch of different majors. Respect that. In fact, hopefully through this class you will learn to value that, because other people will bring to the process something that you don't, and it's the combination of all those things that will make the team more successful. If you're in doubt about anything, ask the question. I'm generally good at email, with one caveat. I gave my email up above. If I don't answer an email in 2 days, I will probably never answer that email. I get on the order of 150 to 200 real emails a day, about 400 counting the spam. That gets through my spam filter, and probably another 500 or 1,000 end up in my spam filter, a pretty aggressive one. But if you're sending it from UCCS to UCCS, it gets through. If you send mail from a random location, Hotmail, it may get stuck in my spam filter, and then I will never see it. But also, even if you send it from UCCS, with so many emails, sometimes I get interrupted while I'm doing email, and it gets marked as read, and then I forget about it, and I probably won't remember to go back. So if you go more than, I'd actually say for class, if you go more than 24 hours and you don't get an answer, send me another email just to prod me along. You can also message me on Teams to sort of say, hey, I sent you an email, didn't get an answer. Right? That's another way of getting it through. As I said, all correspondences, formal correspondence should be UCCS email. You can use Teams to remind me that there's an email, but you should not just count on Teams to be an official thing. You're responsible for reading your UCCS email. That's where I will send messages. You can forward your email. There's places on campus, the IT help desk, you can learn how to forward your email. So if you want to use something else, that's okay with me. But again, you want to send it from UCCS and make sure you're reading UCCS. You're also responsible for tracking announcements in Canvas. So there's a little announcements thing that shows up when you first log in. Track those. Because this class is entirely online, the only way it will remind you of stuff is there will be an announcement. And an announcement can happen pretty much any day of the week. So you're responsible for checking those. Course grading, this is pretty much the standard of many classes, right? A is 93 to 100. A minus is 90 to 90. Actually, it should be 92.9. I'll have to fix that. And then B plus, 87 to 93, and so on. Right? This is a pretty standard for the way you've been seeing grades before. How's the course grades going to be distributed? So the current expectation, but this is subject to change as things happen throughout the semester. I'm expecting 270 of your 1,000 points to be through a combination of participation in discussions and the journal. Now, emailing me and asking questions is a way of getting participation points, but so is discussion and the journals. And I'll talk a little bit about my journals in the second week when I assign the first journal. So there'll probably be 6 journal assignments. The journals are personal reflection assignments about what you're learning and what's going on. So they count towards this group. There will be other assignments, actually things like going out and finding RFPs or finding proposal opportunities, and then doing various writing and parts of the proposal effort. There will be a midterm. There will be an exam. There's terminology that I want you to all know. That'll be part of the midterm exam. The midterm exam will be closed book. We'll use Respondus Monitor. There will be no notes, no searching the internet. It is, you have to know these terms. And I want you to know these terms because when you're in conversation, think about stuff, you just have to know this stuff. You can't be looking it up. The midterm will have a little bit of writing, but the focus of the midterm will not be on actual writing, but about the writing process that we want you to be using. There will be a draft meeting for your teams, which is actually, I'll call it draft 1 meeting here, right? And that's basically showing up and having done your part of what's supposed to happen in that draft. You'll actually be in 2 draft 1 meetings, and you're going to get like half of this, or 12 and a half for each. One is the proposal you're driving, the other is the proposal where you're doing the red teaming, which is a reviewing process, and you'll be at least on 2 proposals. And then 200 points for the final proposal package. The final proposal package is a team-oriented grade, but the team will not necessarily get uniform grades. So if there's 5 people on the team, I might have 1,000 points to give out. The average is 200. Somebody might actually get 210, and somebody else might get 150, right? I don't have to give out all 1,000, but this is where the change tracking will help me understand who did how much. We've seen proposals before where people are, they're doing way more than their share because they're that type of personality, and other people just don't care that much. I'm okay giving a team 2 A's, a C, and an F. And if that's the way it works out, that's the way it's going to work out. So you don't get to to ride the coattails of other people. They might pull you along. If they nudge you and make you do stuff, that's great. But just riding their coattails won't get you a very good grade. There'll also be there'll be the final proposal package, which will have the actual proposal, some follow-up how-to guide materials about your electronic submission, and there will be an oral presentation that your team will make, which is separate from your individual assignment, which will be a speech. That'll be the speeches will be one of the assignments. The team presentation will be part of how I look at the overall presentation. I'm going to view it as though you might have been invited by the agency to actually give an oral presentation. Most agencies don't actually have that, but a few do. And so we'll talk about that when we get to that part. So class participation, your contribution refers to your learning experience and your impact on creating a positive learning environment for everybody. Participation in online discussions, teamwork, attendance, all this stuff is really important. We're not going to have online lectures in the sense of real-time lectures, but you should know that I can see every time, I guess that's down here, right? I can see if you've actually watched the videos in Canvas. So watch the videos in Canvas, because if you don't, then you're going to lose participation points. That's part of what you're going to do. It's the equivalent of attendance in a regular class, but I'll be looking at them. So I'll be able to sort of see how you've been doing that stuff. Your participation is a significant part of your grade. It's somewhat subjective, but there's lots of pieces where it's like, did you do this? How many times, when I tell you in a discussion, you need to post by this, then have 3 or 4 responses? Some of it's just basic counting. But if your response is lame, then we might not give you any points for it. So attend the online lectures, watch the videos, take part in discussions, right? And most of the discussions that will take place in this class have an unfortunate aspect with respect to Canvas. Canvas only allows me to have 1 date for a discussion, but in most of the ways I will use the discussion board in Canvas, you will have 2 dates. There will be a date by which you must first post, and in most cases, you won't be able to see anyone else post until you make your first post. And then there will be a response phase. Sometimes, in fact, often the response phase will require that you wait 24 to 48 hours, and then respond. And the reason for that is so that there's enough people there that you actually have some reasonable chance to read through and answer comments. Very often I will limit the number of people who can respond to any particular response so that there's a diversity of answers to everyone's original post. And you'll see that when we get to today's assignment. Your personal learning journals and Canvas, these will be a place where you are doing your own writing. This will actually be a place where I get to score you for both the content, what you write, and the actual writing quality. This is a place where you're going to want to make sure grammar and spelling are correct, because I will use a tool to check those things. Not that I notice it, but when we go through this, right, you're going to be scored for both your ability to generate good content and your ability to actually write the grammar and spelling and everything else. And actually, sometimes a couple of these will actually be you telling a story, so we'll get all the story elements in them. I want to see that each of you have mastered some of the story elements. You're going to contribute to ideas and the conversations among things. So some students will have consistent high level of involvement in these discussions through asking questions, answering questions, often creative comments. In any discussion, when I say no more than 3, I will actually still let other people comment after everyone has enough comments. If you really want to go back and add more comments after the due date for discussion, you can do that. And I might even say you can go ahead and do it like other times. I just don't want people to feel, if I've said, at most 3 people can comment and you take somebody's slot and then they can't find a slot, that's problematic. So we'll want you to wait an extra day or 2 before you put in some extra comments. There's going to be reading materials and understandings that are part of what we want to do. In all cases, you should have done the reading before you take part in the discussion, because we want you to have well-developed ideas, understanding what's going on. Watch the video and do the reading that's assigned, and then take part in the discussions. It's not too hard for us to tell that you haven't done the reading or you haven't taken part of it, and you're just BSing it. In fact, you should probably make sure that you're referring to some of the stuff that was in the videos or the book before you write your discussion, so that it's less likely that we will say, well, you're just BSing your way through this. If we detect the BS or filter, our BS filter goes off, you're going to lose points. Even if you say you've done the reading afterwards, right? If you write BS, what looks like BS, you're going to get a BS-like grade. You're expected to read all the emails and check the pages and updates, whatever. If you really want to meet with me in person, I'm good with that, even though it's an online class. We can also set up things for online meetings via Teams, whatever. And that actually often shows me that you're really engaged. If some of you are introverted and quiet and you really find it difficult on the discussion board, happy to have those conversations one-on-one. And if you want to have them by email because that's even less threatening, that's okay too. I can answer emails if you prefer not to. I will count some of that towards the class participation as well. A couple of things about the conduct in this class. You should be aware of your rights and responsibilities. There's a student code of conduct that you have to make sure you're following. There's a whole bunch of things in there about treating other people and whatever. In particular, I'm going to be aggressive with respect to plagiarism. If you're copying stuff, that's going to be a problem. I forgot to update this to add the particular phrase about plagiarism. But in this class, we're going to be using some online tools like ChatGPT and Grammarly Go and some other tools. When they are assigned, you should use them. When the assignment says you may not use them, then you may not use them, and it will be considered academic misconduct if you do. If an assignment doesn't say either way, then you can use them to correct your writing and grammar, as I will recommend that you do. So like your journals, I won't tell you that you shouldn't use them, but you should really use them to write your grammar, not to generate the core content of the assignments. As you will see when we talk about these tools, they will generate some stuff that's hallucinations. And if I detect that you've generated garbage, then I'm going to decide that you are misusing the tools and consider that academic misconduct if you were told not to do it. So you can use, when not assigned, you still can't use them to generate content just to fix your writing and grammar. And we'll talk about how to do that. And if you do use them for fixing things, and if you do use them for content, there'll be a few assignments where we use them for content. They have to be properly documented and citing, either using quotation marks around some particular part, if it's a couple of sentences or paragraph or whatever, or some general way of noting the material as a quote, in order to stay within the universal policies and academic honesty. If it's not words you generated, and it's not just fixing your grammar, then it should be properly cited. If your prompt was correct grammar or footnote, then just a footnote is good enough to fix that. If I believe there's an issue, we'll probably have a video chat first because the tools for automatically detecting this that campus have are not that great. And my filters are probably better because I've used these a good bit now, and my other students have as well. You probably, if I decide, because it's my decision as the instructor, that you have misused any of these tools, you may get just a 0 for the assignment if the misuse was maybe close, or if it's a case of clear academic misconduct, I'll be forwarding it to the dean for following the campus policies. A couple of things about workload. So students in this class are expected to devote an average of 6 to 7 hours per week outside of lecture time for the work on this class. This first week is going to be just a little bit lighter, but after this first week, we're going to expect 6 to 7 hours per week, not including the video time watching videos for this class. One of the reasons I don't do too much in the first week is a lot of students are drop adding during the first week, so I don't want to have a huge thing and then people are behind by 7 hours. In the second week, they're like 14 hours behind. That's just hard to make up, so I go a little lighter in this first week. Academic dishonesty, as I said, plagiarism, cheating, fabrication, so cheating on the exams, right? I will probably be detected. I'm pretty good at this stuff. I've had classes where like half the class was detected and wasn't good. So just don't do it. You're really here to learn, not about the grades. So one of the things I will be offering for a number of the assignments in this class is the ability to redo them to increase your grade, because it's actually about the learning. So if you showed a fundamental misunderstanding, I'm not going to give you a grade that's really low because you misunderstood something. I'm going to ask you to understand it and fix it. I'm not going to do it for all assignments because some of them I don't think that's an issue, but we'll go through that when it comes up. So, and if you feel in any assignment that you were graded on that this was about a misunderstanding, you and I can have a video call or chat and we can figure out, you convinced me that it really was a true misunderstanding, then I might let you redo the assignment to get your grade back up. I don't want to have grades be a penalty, but they are still a motivator, so I have to keep them up. If you have a disability, you should already be talking with the disability student office. They'll ask for documentation and determine what accommodations are appropriate for your situation. You should do that as soon as possible. I've already gotten some, so they're not retroactive. So if halfway through the semester you formally get diagnosed with dyslexia and they decide it's appropriate to give you extra time on the exam, but we've already had the exam, you don't get to redo it. So you got to get all this stuff in up front. If you're a military student and there's a chance you're going to be called for service training during the semester, let me know no later than the second or third week of class that could be an issue. Obviously it could happen, you won't know it, but mostly I want to make sure I can review the timing of assignments and potential issues. Mostly what I've had for an online class when I've had this before is students who get sent into theater or overseas in places where there might not be the best connectivity or where time and hours make things a lot harder to coordinate with your teams. We have a whole military website on campus. I will work with you to make sure that that's okay. If you're serving our country, we'll make some accommodations to make sure that happens. So you're expected to be competent in the use of Canvas, log in, do all of your stuff from the portal. You're responsible for tracking announcements through this, so I will be doing that. I will probably not, send many communications as emails through Canvas. I will also use the announcement board very commonly. You can also use it for collaboration between the students in class, but you can also communicate any way you want. There will be points in time where I want to see some of the communications, and so email threads may be useful. When you're getting into a discussion of, no, I was supposed to do this, and they said I was supposed to do that, having an email thread is a much better way of dealing with things. If you had chat transcript, that'll also be okay. We'll be able to deal with that. Obviously, I'll have course materials, assignments and stuff will go up there. That's where we will upload assignments. Most of the time your uploading assignments will be either uploading a video and when I talked about uploading videos, you can upload a video to some other site like YouTube and put a link, or you can actually upload the video directly. There's some limit on how big those can be, so I'll make sure I address that when we get to to the video upload for the assignment. There are going to be a lockdown midterm exam, which I already mentioned, and I will be posting grades here. How fast the grades will be posted after an assignment, I will try and have things graded within two weeks after larger assignments and generally a week after smaller assignments, but multiple classes will see how that goes. Drop policy standard. Campus Sexual Violence Elimination Act. This is an online course, so I hope to not have to deal with any of this, but we don't tolerate any act of protected class harassment, discrimination, sexual, right? That includes online or video. So I just ask you go through the syllabus and read this. I'm not going to go through all this now. But a couple of things. I am required to report. If I see something, right, I'm a mandated reporter, right? It's not my choice. If it's there, I will report it. Doesn't matter when it's happening. I'm not a confidential source. If you want to talk to somebody confidentially, you'll have to go to one of the campus resources for mental health or whatever, because if you talk to me about it, I have to report it by law, and I will. I will listen with empathy. I'm not trying to blame anybody. I'm pretty good, I think, at listening to two sides if two different people disagree about what happened, but it will still get reported. I'm here to support you in many ways. If you have anything in terms of you feel as an interpersonal violence, read through this, make sure you're covered. If you want confidential supports, here's a list of places on campus you can talk to people, some of whom are confidential. Public safety is actually not confidential. I should have marked that, but many of the other groups are. And then there's other places to get resources on campus. So as the semester expands, this course summary at the bottom will expand to show what's due when. If you've used Canvas before, you normally have over here something that shows you like some upcoming things. That's a good place to check for what's going on. The course assignments, because everything's out of 1,000 points, there's no weighting of those. The one exception will be when I go to do the midterm exam. The actual midterm exam will be curved. And so the raw midterm exam will have a weight of 0, and then I will have a second column for the curved scores that we'll put up for that. So if after I've covered any of this, if you have questions, email me. We can talk, and I can try and resolve those questions. My first office hour will be Tuesday, the week classes start. So you can do a call then, but also just email me. Okay, so the first assignments. So actually, we'll go to modules first. So modules is where in Canvas you will see stuff. So I've put in some of the first week. I've not finished it because, in fact, today's video has to be uploaded and then put up here. Most of the videos, the way I'm going to handle them for your convenience, but I want to be careful, is they will actually play. So if I go to here, it'll open Twist, which is the first video. I can tell it to open in a new browser. This is actually playing from YouTube, and I choose to use YouTube, but as soon as you click that link, it'll take you to YouTube, but I know you've clicked the link. And I may actually change this. I may actually upload them entirely into it. That'll actually be one of the survey questions in the first week survey. But this has some advantages because you can actually scroll, you can do 2x, you can look at the transcript. There's lots of things you can do on YouTube that are better than the tools built into Canvas. So videos will be posted. In most cases, I will also post the slides that go with them. This is convenient for many students. I want you to be careful though. Don't just view the slides as I've downloaded them. I don't have to take notes. Very often, in fact, what I would suggest is you download the slides and you take notes on them by hand, because that writing process will help many of you retain stuff. And then this link, which will actually be updated throughout the semester, is actually a download of the book. It'll take you, you can scroll through it here. It's going to take a while to download, so I'm not going to do it. But then you can actually click on it and download the book. This is a book I am in the process of writing, so it's not done. As I learn from this semester, I will be changing things and doing this because I want this to be useful for the students in the class. I ask that you do not post this publicly because it's not yet ready, but also because I will probably actually try and publish this book, so I don't want copies of it rolling around for free. They'll actually all be marked, like, internal copy, do not distribute, and whatever. So, but I just want to be clear. I don't want you distributing it. This is for your use in this class. Each week, things will show up in here, and you'll be able to come in here and see what's going on. I think for modules, that was it. So under quizzes, the quiz is not yet done. There's this first week, which is a survey. This is actually something I want you to do. I will know that you have done it, but I will not know who answered what questions. It's an anonymous survey within the system. And this is stuff that will help me guide exactly what I'll be doing during the semester and how things will go. So please go through that. There will be a couple other online quizzes throughout the semester, mostly to help you prepare for the kinds of things you might see on the midterm. They will add to your assignment grades, but they're not going to be very heavy. They'll be like 5 points, 10 points, whatever, not much. Okay, so your first assignment for this week, and the bigger assignment, is this assignment, Introduction and Objectives. Okay, so do this only after, obviously, you've watched this video, hopefully, and then you won't be able to see anyone else post till you do this. So once you do this, we're going to be doing a lot of multiple team assignments, and we'll be working on proposals. So because you'll be working in teams, I think it's a really good idea for you to get to know each other. If we're doing this in class, I'd have people stand up, tell us a bit of your background, whatever, what you did in high school, what you're doing freshman year, right? I want you to, you can talk about your major, but I also want you to have a little bit of fun. I want to hear something about you that is different, okay? If you have time constraints on when you can get together, when you can meet with other people on your team or job, so you simply have a hard time getting up before 10 a.m., include that in your discussion. So this is going to be important for what team members might be able to make things go. So you're going to be able to go back to this discussion later when you're trying to find teammates and read through this and get a feel for what's going on. Tactical writing means writing to an objective, so the proposal will have very specific objectives. So we want you to also focus on the impact. So the second part of this video, this is a video I want you to record and upload, which I will show you in just a little bit. And that actually, I post a separate video just on how to record and upload a video because I actually have to get a Mac and a Windows machine because, again, how I record on Linux is different. Hopefully all of you have recorded. You can actually record this on your phone, which I guess most students can do. Maybe I'll even do a recording how to record on your phone. But in fact, I think I won't. You can record it on your phone and upload it. And I'll just have to show you how to upload. I'll do a very quick Windows and other thing, but I'm not going to show you how to record it on your phone. So this video, I want you to discuss what makes you passionate. What are you most passionate about? And if you could write a modest proposal, say for under $200,000, for anything you want, what would you want to pursue? And then I want you to discuss at least 3 ideas for which you might be interested in pursuing a proposal besides the one you just had there, right? So I'm looking for you to have a short discussion, 100, 200 words, right? Okay, after everyone has posted their videos. In the discussion board, besides posting a video, I want you to post 100 to 200 words summary of your introduction and 100 to 200 words describing each of the at least 3 proposal objectives you might be interested in. The videos and summaries are to be posted by 9 a.m. Thursday, August 21st. That's the first week of classes. There'll be an assignment 1. Many of our assignments, which will probably just have 1 point so I can track that they've been done. This is because Canvas does not let us know. I can't have 2 dates. So I will generally use an assignment to say when you have to first post, and this discussion is due by August 27th. So that gives you 3 days to actually do the second part of it. So after waiting at least 24 hours, so by Friday the 25th, right, then I want you to view and comment on at least 3 other students' objectives, providing either ideas that might further their objectives or difficulties you see that they will need to overcome to reach those objectives. You're free to comment on the introduction aspects, but you don't need to comment on those objectives right now. So we just really want to focus on that. Reply, and then when someone comments on yours, so this one I've not limited you to no one can get more than 3 because this is actually a chance for you to engage in with lots of people. You're trying to find teams, so there's no limit to how many you can, but you have to do at least 3. Reply to each comment posted on your topic. And ideally engage in a conversation with this person, right? There's a point of a chance. If you were in class, you might have this like as a chance to chat. I want you to view that this way. So when you go to reply, so I'm going to go ahead and show you some things on the reply. So if I go to reply, I can, obviously I can type here. I'm not going to actually fill this in, but but I can also go here and I can upload recorded meetings. So if I've uploaded a video, I can upload it here. You can only do this if the video is less than 500 megabytes. I don't recommend anyone because these are short videos, should be more than 100 megabytes. If it fails because it's more than 100 megabytes, then you can upload an external link to say a YouTube or a Vimeo or some other website where you've hosted the video. But in general, I prefer that you actually post them through the upload record media. You can actually, if I click on this, and if my machine is set up properly, I don't know if this is actually going to work in Linux. I've never actually tried it. I'm going to allow. Let's see. Because I'm using my camera for recording, because I'm recording the video, I don't think I can actually do this. But you might be able to just record directly through this interface to get that to go on. So you would put the video there. It'll show up as a link inside of this. And then you can also type your things. So that's how you go ahead and post a video. I'm going to cancel this. So that's the first assignment. There is not yet an assignment, but there will be over. Oh no, actually it is. So this is the journal. This is the actual discussion board due by August 27th at the end of the day. Assignments will come in two forms. Generally, lots of discussions will be due by like 9 a.m. so you can post them the night before. But people who are night owls and work at 2 a.m. can get it in. Other things will be due by midnight, and that's actually so that I'm an early riser. I get up at 6 or 7, so I might actually start grading stuff the next morning. Give me a chance to figure out what's going to go on. And then discussions will often have an assignment to go with them, which is you have to have your first post by then. And when you go to do the first post, the assignment will tell me to basically copy the material you put in your discussion board in the assignment so that I can sort of see what's going on. So you have 2 copies of it. But it makes grading easier if I can grade the assignments in one place and then the responses in another. So I think that's it for this first week. I'm looking forward to this semester. It's been, I don't know, 6 or 7 years since I got to teach this class, and I'm excited. I'm very big into proposals. I've done lots of them. I used to do many of them. I'm trying to cut back as I move more from research back into more teaching within the BI. But we will be doing some real proposals, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun and a lot of impact with what we're going to try and accomplish this semester. So thank you, and talk to you next week.